now one of my favorite, most fun guests that I love to have on the show. You remember her. She is the top of the list of Dr. Gina's show guests who don't suck. She is a conservative writer and a contributor to Daily Caller, and she is host of the Don Lynn Show on FTR Radio. Welcome back to the Dr. Gina Show, Don Lynn Turnbull. How are you today, girl?
I am so good and still so blonde. How are you?
Well, I've changed all that up. Not really at my own will, but just more that of my stylist. And I figure she knows better than I do, so I'm just kind of sitting here being a brunette for the day. But
there you go. I tried that once. It just didn't work.
You know what happens when I'm a brunette? Okay, let me just tell you this. I will say this. A lot more guys look. It's just a weird thing I noticed. A lot more guys look when you have brunette. I don't know why that is. Whether they take the blonde Barbie thing kind of for granted and a brunette is a little more I don't know. But I will say that I always feel like I'm being dishonest when I have dark hair. I feel like I'm walking around in a lie because I feel like in my insides, I'm a blonde. Now, does that make any sense at all, or am I just off my rocker?
That's the funniest thing because it makes perfect sense. I wanted to try it because naturally I'm like a dishwater blonde. Usually I'm not this blonde. This blonde came from putting hair color in your hair and being a writer and getting a great idea and leaving it in your hair for approximately 20 minutes too long.
I've never done that. I don't know what you're talking about, Don Lynn. I don't know that it takes exactly 30 minutes and that you got distracted writing a story that took you an hour and a half. I don't know what you're talking about.
I ran to the bathroom like, oh my God. So now I'm just like this. I got the Marilyn Monroe blonde thing going right now. But the dark hair, I did notice that. I did get actually more attention, I think, with the brown hair. I was approached more. I don't know.
Isn't that
Are
funny?
They scared of blonde?
I don't know either. But I definitely, even Jason noticed, he was traveling with me. He's like, man, a lot more people look at you when you're brunette. Okay, that's great because I'm kind of oblivious to that, like most blondes. And I didn't notice. Okay, so speaking of blondes and brunettes, and the only people who really think about this stuff are women. I mean, and gay guys.
Right.
That's really it. My GBFF is the one that I text like, what color? And he's like strawberry blonde, and I'm like, forget it. I'm not doing that. So we're the ones that think about this. We also are the ones who are being the most impacted by the politics today. The unemployment rate, they say, has dropped now to 7.2%, while the economy added only 148,000 jobs. But there's a lot more to this story, Don Lynn. Tell us about this.
Well, okay, first of all, I'm going to actually give a little bit of credit to a misnomer that's kind of been going around, and that is that Obamacare is causing people to go to part-time jobs. Evidently, with this report, we see that the jobs numbers as far as part-time employment and full-time employment has gone basically almost identical to December. So I'll give him that, but that's all I'm giving him.
That's it.
Because the number of over 90 million are not in the workforce now, and that is our highest number ever. In the history of the United States, less people are working now than they ever have. So those numbers, once they fall out of the system, they're no longer counted in the unemployment numbers. So it's very deceiving. So also under President Obama, over 10 million have dropped out of the workforce just in the time that Obama has been in office. So in the last 5 years, 10 million are completely gone from the workforce. They've given up. They've gone on disability. Disability has gone through the roof. I saw the other day, prisoners are not eligible for disability, but there were over 400 prisoners that were paid disability.
Nice.
So it's like, I don't know who's running this place. But the labor participation rate, so the number of able-bodied adults working, stayed at 63.2%, and that's the lowest rate since August. Are you ready for this? August of 1978. That's
holy cow.
35 years.
Because I thought this president and Nancy and Hillary and all these folks, they were gonna make life kind of paradise for women and
yeah, the stimulus. You remember the stimulus?
Oh yeah.
It was a $800 billion stimulus, and Obama promised that it was going to get us under 5% unemployment. Remember that?
Yeah, how's that working out for us? Well, he's given a little bit of a speech, and there were some things that he said, a press conference with 13 human props behind him. None of them have actually purchased an Obamacare insurance plan. Has anyone actually purchased an Obamacare insurance plan? That's my question. I want to see one person. Yeah, and so what didn't we hear about this in the lamestream media, Donlin?
This is also the most transparent president.
Oh, right, I forgot. The most pro-woman, the most transparent, and he's going to make healthcare cheaper and more efficient, and you get to keep your own doctor. Yeah,
you knew that,
silly
right?
Me. I just keep experiencing this life that must be surreal.
Exactly. Well, the most transparent president in the history of the U.S. is not going to provide for us the numbers of how many people have signed up. At this point, Jay Carney is saying mid-November they'll let us know how many people have signed up. But
that's great. So it's kind of like when we passed the bill, just pass it, and then we'll let you know what's going to happen to you.
Yeah,
That's great. I love that. At least they're consistent, Donlin. You've got to give them that too.
Right.
2 points for Obama.
They of the 13 people that were standing behind Obama yesterday, including the girl that almost passed out, well, of all 13 of those people, none of them have signed up for Obamacare. Three have applied, so we know that. But none of them, as of right now, are on Obamacare. I have no idea who grabbed that ball and ran with it, but it started popping up on Twitter probably 30 minutes after his speech yesterday. So, this was supposed to be the best and the brightest standing behind him. But, he talked about, basically everyone's comparing it to like the ShamWow commercial, which it really felt like that, And I'm blonde, and I didn't fall for it. I'm not falling for this. Here in Florida, Florida Blue is a big insurance provider here. They are terminating about 300,000 policies. That's about 80% of its individual policies within the state. And then you're in California, right?
Yes, I am.
Where you are, Kaiser Permanente has sent notices to 160,000 people. That's about half of its individual business in the state, saying that they're dropping them from their coverage. So you remember also what Obama said, all these promises. See, men make all these promises, and people fall for them. I'm the bitter single girl. But,
go ahead.
But, you look at this, and you remember what he said. You can keep your plan, and you can keep your doctor. And right now, people are falling off of their plans. Even Michelle Malkin, I think she tweeted the other day. Michelle Malkin said that she had been dropped from her insurance. Brad Thor, whom I adore, is a conservative and a novelist. He said that his insurance for his dental plan was going up from $800 to over $2,500, and he doesn't get to keep his dentist. So and this was for his children because his children were included on his dental plan, and he doesn't get to keep it, and he gets to pay 3 times as much.
Craziness.
I don't see how this is a good idea at all.
Well, and here is the real matter of the day that we've been talking about. In fact, producer Jason decided to name the entire show after a tease on this particular story that you wanted to talk about today, Donlin. There's a beer company that created a new brew called Dallas Blonde, and everybody's all upset about this. We went from the Redskins now to the beer. We're just going to attack it all over the place. The folks criticizing it are claiming it's creating a rape culture. And you asked the question, and I think this is brilliant, especially for a blonde. I can say that as a 5 day ago former blonde. Since when did it become America's job never to offend anyone? That is really where we are right now, is it not?
Absolutely. This goes everywhere from Christianity, all the Christmas decorations being taken down because somebody somewhere out there is offended. And this is just hilarious to me that it's a beer. Who cares?
Who cares?
Exactly. And like you said, it's called Dallas Blonde, and they have a little tagline called, I think the big thing was that it goes down easy. Play on words, okay. They're playing up a stereotype. Who cares?
Yeah, why not let the free market determine that? There's a novel concept. You know what? If I, as a blonde, or at least as a former blonde, if I'm offended by that, then I don't buy the beer.
Thank you.
Seems pretty simple to me.
That's common sense. And this is America. You're going to be offended at some point. I don't care who you are or what you do. And laws, it seems like laws, everything is being created around this. Let's never offend anyone.
Yeah.
Well, something silly could offend me. I don't know. Washington Redskins, okay. I don't get that. It makes absolutely no sense to me. As a matter of fact, why don't they ever go to the source either? Because with the Washington Redskins and that whole big thing, I think 95% of the American Indians that they have polled don't care.
Don't care. Now, I can't let this time get away because I have you on the line, and you, after all, are an expert. And this beer is in Dallas, and all the outrage and the uproar is in Dallas, and you frankly are about as blonde as a person could be. I'm looking at you, and it doesn't get much blonder than you, Dunlin.
It doesn't get.
So, as the resident expert, you say, go get a life, pretty much. Is that where you're going with this?
Go drink a Dallas blonde. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly. All right, that is Donlin Turnbull. We appreciate you being with us again. You can find her on Twitter at Donlin Turnbull. Pretty easy. And we're going to check in again with you next week. Thanks so much for being with us today, Donlin.
Thanks, Dr. Dina.
All right, all the best to you. Now, coming